everyone, Joshua Hanlon here at BrickFair Alabama, and I'm joined by a couple builders who are going to take us through a zoo, kind of amusement park, whole layout here with lots of action happening. So if you want to introduce yourselves, then we'll dive on in here.
I'm David Gautreaux from Angleton, Texas.
And I'm Don Siebert from Angleton, Texas.
Perfect. So let's start with this section here. What do we have going on?
Here we have what started out as an elephant enclosure. And as we started progressing, which always happens with Legos to begin with, it evolved into a safari-type atmosphere. So we have the giraffes, we have the Friends elephants. That was before Lego decided to release their own elephant. We did the Friends, and then we started buying the Lego elephants. The trees were some creations that we did on our own after learning from Texas Brick Railroad. I'm sure you guys met them at Brick Rodeo. And then the ostriches came just as a filler. So overall, it became a safari-type atmosphere. Well, then I just wanted to add on, and I'm into alligators for some reason. So I started picking up alligators, and it was supposed to be just a little pond, and then it became scientists studying their eggs, and it just evolved into a whole alligator enclosure with a lot of little Easter eggs in it where the alligators trying to eat the bunny rabbit, and we got some pigs running around in there trying to hide from the alligators, and so it just kind of makes it fun because I like, when I'm doing a mock, I like the minifig interaction. So each section has something going on with different minifigs. And we have some Easter eggs where Venom's in there, R2 and C3PO. Then we have Emmett, which is a staple for Lego, so Emmett's in there. But in every section, there's a conversation going on with the minifigs. There's families interacting. And so it's a day at the zoo.
I love it. All of the different minifigures having fun there. This person, the day didn't end so well for them.
It didn't make it so well. She got too close, and Alligator was like, hey, everybody else is getting something to eat. I guess I'm hungry too. And so the mini doll from the Friends department just didn't make it. She's going to regret getting close to that alligator.
Yeah, this is so much fun, though. So then we'll continue transitioning kind of on down here to the rest of the layout. So what do we have in this section?
So this aquarium came about because I was asked to contribute to a zoo layout, and I'm very into motion, and I just thought an aquarium would be my best opportunity to put a lot of things swimming and doing things and whatnot like that. So I started with this aquarium, then I decided I wanted to go black light and get a bunch of elements that would glow and show up in that kind of accent lighting. And then I just started building. I built with in mind into 3 sections and started with the rock formations and the different things and making the fish move in and out of them and do their circles. And then everything else was just kind of laid out to accent those 3 key features in the mock itself. And then the courtyard was designed just to kind of flow into it as a way to get into it. And you might recognize that in the fountain there, I made it look like a little exhibit from one of the Oceanic Express kits, and just to make it look like it's part of the gig here. And then everybody's just having fun with all the different, animals and the concessions and whatnot. And then as we move on to the Gravatron, this was actually, I would consider this the first mock that I ever built that came out of my mind. And it was just from my love of going on this ride as a kid. And it was pretty tough to design. I've actually reworked it a few times because of the way the gears and things work. I actually have it being, it's being ran by a wheel as opposed to a bunch of gears a little bit before. But the real thing about this, though, is the lighting. The lighting on this was a 12-hour sit down with a hot glue gun, and believe it or not, it's just a Christmas set of lights, Christmas lights, and sat down and glued them down to a pattern to get what I needed to make the Gravatron layout. It was, I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but I was super happy with the outcome of it.
Yeah, the signage around it with all the like orange, red, yellow bricks really add a lot to it as well.
So, yeah, and it really popped and got what I wanted. So
how has it been running here at the show?
So far, it's been going great. Everything motion-wise hasn't messed up with me, except for I did have one element that I need to replace which is why my sign is in motion up on here at the moment. But other than that, seems to be running pretty well.
And if we go back to the underwater scene here, talk about some of the elements that you used in there and how you were able to recreate that.
So on my right side here, there's a conveyor belt type atmosphere where I've got some sharks and fish just going on a conveyor, and then I built a rock formation around it to look like a cave. And that was actually the simplest of the 3 builds that I put into this item. The center one has got 3 conveyor belts going in opposite directions from each other, and I actually have them geared to go 3 different speeds as well. So if you really pay attention to look at it, you would notice that all 3 of those are doing different things. And if you pay attention on there, I do have some fish floating around on there that don't look the same. You know, there's some coral colored fish and some sea turtles hanging out on there as well. And then in this first part, there is 3 different motion elements happening in it. You've got some anglerfish that are popping in and out of their caves, and you've got a set of sharks swimming around in a circle. And then if you pay really close attention, there's a set of crabs that are at the very front of where the minifigs are looking, and they were designed just to barely move. If you ever notice when you go to aquariums, the crabs and things, they just kind of hang out there and you see their antennas move. So that's all I wanted, was just this little, very subtle motion, almost like you couldn't see it unless you were paying attention. And I felt like I got that with this. So, and then an interesting part usage that I did in here was for the floor of the minifigures section. I ended up going with the garage doors that were trans off of like the police kits and different things. And because I wanted something that would let more of the black light shine through the floor, and that ended up being the way to go. And
that's perfect. I mean, it's really cool that you were able to include so much in there. So great work.
Thank you.
So then, what was the collaborative process like for you two in general on this? How did you kind of decide what each of you was going to build?
He automatically, like he said, when I first asked him to help build a zoo thing, he automatically went with the aquarium idea. That's something that he's been toying with for a very long time. So once he went with that, I was going like, I'm going to do an elephant enclosure. And that's basically what I wanted to do, because I saw the elephants on the shelf at Walmart, and I'm going to do a zoo enclosure. It evolved, and then I've got this thing about alligators. So it wasn't, and this is the beginning of a very bigger mock, because we're going to go home and now we're going to start adding on other sections of the zoo. So we'll have big cat enclosures, we'll have the bears and the lions and tigers and bears, oh my, type thing. And so, but it was just the idea of this being part of our big cityscape. That's going to be, the zoo is going to be part of the city itself. And so we just wanted to expand. And as we went, I mean, he and I we'd actually have conversations while building, and I think I would frustrate him a little bit, and he would kind of snip, and I'm going like, we're going to have these kind of conversations on Lego Masters when we make it on there, right? And so we would just pick at each other and laugh, because that's the kind of stuff they want to see on the show. So we did a lot of
practice for TV one day.
Right, exactly. So we're going, okay, yeah, and helping each other out, pointing out things. There were things I didn't know how to make these two tie in together. Don came to me one night and said, hey, you need to make a stream go in between two so they're both bodies of water. So I went, I like that. Okay, cool. So I started pulling things up. We did it. I helped him with his sidewalks. I helped him with some of it, the minifig interaction thing. It's kind of my thing. I love doing that. And then he's always trying to add another minifig or just put some together. And so the collaboration, he and I are on the same page with a lot of stuff, and so building this came naturally for both of us, and getting along, and I guess the big part of the story is the fact that he's always been a Lego fan. And when I came along and we did BrickFest Live in 2019 in Houston, and I asked him to come join me and help, and he was like, man, I've always loved doing Lego, and I've never had a reason to do it and a venue to show it. And he goes, I'm on board, man, let's do this. And he and I have been together ever since, and we just kind of been building, and because he's got the passion like I do, and it's all about the building and the creativeness and making it fun for the kids. It's all about, I mean, for he and I both, it's all about the kids. What can we do? Put Easter eggs in or push buttons on our roller coasters. The kids are able to push the buttons and make the roller coaster go. Whereas, you know, there are other people that don't care about that. We like to see the smiles.
More interactive.
Right, and the excitement on the kids' face as they walk by, they're going, wow, this is so cool. Look at that, look. And that's why we're here.
Perfect. Well, I love to hear that. You guys certainly achieved that very nicely here, so fantastic work. Thank you both so much.